Good evening, everybody. We are back with another episode of the Fins Forecast. We show up here every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Come rain or shine, whether the Dolphins doing well or not, we are coming off of a win against the Cleveland Browns. And tonight we are introducing a new host to our show. He's going to be a permanent host. You're going to see him every Wednesday, every Sunday. Taylor Cole, take a bow.
Hey, it's great to join the show. I have talked to you guys for the last week and a half, and I think this is going to be an excellent channel going forward. You want me just to go ahead and go right into?
No, not yet, man.
Okay.
No, but hey, welcome to the show, man. It was a very long and arduous vetting process, but you're really going to be an addition to the show, and I'm really pumped to have you join the show, guys.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. It's going to be a good show tonight with Taylor, with Anthony and Josh, of course, and I'll be here too. But we will be right back after this. All right. Good evening, everybody, and a happy New Year to everybody out there listening. Happy New Year to you guys. How we doing tonight, Anthony? I'll start with you. How you doing tonight, man?
Doing good, man. My New Year's Eve was nice and chill. Met with just two other friends. We played some board games. Actually, almost missed the ball drop because we were playing the board games and kind of didn't realize what was going on.
Love it.
Finished like the game at 11:55, and we were all like, "Oh crap, it's 11:55." So, yeah, it's been nice. And then today, got the day off from work, so I've just been kind of lazing about. It's going to be a busy next couple months, so may as well take that day off while I can get it.
Nice. Sounds like what board game were you playing? Out of curiosity.
Oh man, so we played like Sushi Go or something like that. We played Castle Panic, which is a favorite.
Ooh, I know that one. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
That was great. And then we played some Exploding Kittens. So
I know that one too. That one's fun too.
Yeah, so we mixed it up a bit. The three different games.
I like your selection. Never heard of that first one, but those last two I do know. That's
Sushi Go it's like another card game like Exploding Kittens. It's supposed to be a fast-paced, get in there, get a game done in 10 minutes sort of thing. Yeah.
Nice. It sounds like a good New Year's Eve. Josh, I know your New Year's Eve wasn't nearly as good. Your New Year's Day wasn't nearly as good. How you doing today, man?
I'm hanging in there. For those viewers that have no clue what he's talking about, I am full-blown COVID right now. So I'm day 1.5, hanging in there, but roughing it out for the fans, for my fellow friends, and just hope to God I can make it through.
I love how you call it your full-blown COVID, like you are the disease.
I am the monkey. Right? Did anyone get that reference?
Nope.
The movie there's a movie called Outbreak, and Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, the monkey. Yeah.
I'm the monkey.
Gotcha. All right, Taylor, how was your New Year's Eve, man?
Man, it was pretty chill. It was a weird thing to where I didn't really want to go to a New Year's Eve party or anything. I think I've gotten to that age where people are like, "Oh man, we're having to get together about 9 o'clock or something."
You're like, no, I'll be in bed.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna chill, play some Marvel Rivals, and drink by myself. But you know what? It was a great time, man. It was a great time.
Love it.
Yeah, it's amateur hour, man. I'm not in my 20s anymore. I can't be going out on New Year's Eve. And
I'm almost not in my 30s. Ooh.
Yeah. Well, I don't like to think about that. I don't like to think about that. But all right, so New Year, and the Dolphins are still in the playoff hunt. I wouldn't have thought so after the Texans loss, guys. I'll be honest with you, but they are still in it after the win against the Cleveland Browns. So going back and looking at the game from a less emotional perspective, that we were feeling kind of high, I guess, on Sunday after the win. But looking back, what are your thoughts on that game, Anthony?
Yeah, I think it was an ugly game. I still feel that way a few days later here. But Snoop Huntley played very well, and I didn't really believe that immediately after the game. Immediately once we jumped on here, I thought that he was subpar again, even though his statistics said otherwise. But then watching it back again, he did a lot of good things for a backup quarterback, and I got to say that we got him playing again this week. Spoiler alert there. I still don't feel great about it, but I feel better than I did going into last week's game with Snoop Huntley. So, overall, I don't think my emotional state has changed too much as a whole, but I will say towards Snoop Huntley playing again, I feel a little better about it.
Do you think it's like comfortability and familiarity with the system?
I mean, it would kind of. I think it has to be. Yeah, I think it has to be, right. I mean, he didn't forget how to play football all of a sudden, but he also wasn't a top tier backup. He was on a practice squad, so I think he's gotten comfortable with what we're trying to do. It's a very difficult and complex offense, which, to my chagrin, because I've called it out 1,000 times on the show, how I wish he would simplify it. But yeah, I mean, listen, that's just life, right? Anything you do over the first week you try it versus the 10th week you try it, you should be significantly better at it if you're putting any sort of time into it.
Unless your name is Skylar Thompson.
Right.
Yeah. Man, he was in the system for 3 years and still couldn't get
Still didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah. But yeah, you know what? I agree with you. Credit to Stu Huntley for coming out there and, at least not losing the game for the Dolphins, and it's really nice things with his legs, with his arm. He was efficient. He got my game ball on Sunday, right?
Yeah. And it was a good game ball to give to.
Yeah. Well deserved. So looking back, Josh, what are your final thoughts on that game?
Yeah. I mean, look, I was very harsh on Patrick Paul when I was in my heightened emotional state after the game. And going back, I realized that it was a lot less of Patrick Paul being the problem and a lot of the guards sitting next to him, whomever it was. Mostly, I believe it was Jones, I believe. Yeah. And you could, rewatching the All-22, rewatching the tape, and we're rewatching the game itself and being able to rewind and kind of slow down. And you could really tell that, Patrick Paul was not put into favorable matchups. He was isolated one-on-one with arguably a top 3 defensive end in the league, a defensive end in Myles Garrett who has broken an NFL historical record for over 14 sacks. And I believe it's 5 straight seasons or something like that. I mean, something stupid like that. And he was asked to go one-on-one with them. Well, okay, that's great. But at least it looked like Mike McDaniel called a play that put him in a position to have to play one-on-one with Myles Garrett. But the reality is what should have happened in a lot of those was that Jones or whoever the guard was next to him was supposed to bump the center or bump the defensive tackle to help Brewer and then immediately shift to give Patrick Paul a hand. Right.
Yeah.
And he never did. The other thing that I really noticed was the tight end room, right? Outside of Jonnu Smith, who set yet another Miami Dolphins record as a tight end for a season, we need to overhaul that entire room, right? Yeah. That entire position room. Durham Smythe is hot garbage. He was very good at blocking at one point in his career. I don't know how you can forget how to play something that you were drafted for. Julian Hill was my black eye on the season, right? I think it's well documented that I was very high on him. And he is something. He might be worse than Jordan Poyer, and you guys all know how I feel about Jordan Poyer. So, the tight end room is a problem. I think Patrick Paul played admirably for a 3rd round rookie or a 2nd round rookie or whatever whenever he was drafted. And I don't know if we'll get to it later, and maybe we want to touch on this at a certain point, but I was giving Tua a pass for his hip injury, for not playing a game that was very important, under the assumption that he would suit up for a very, very important game against the Jets the following week, meaning this coming week. And the fact that he's out again is worrying. Right. It's troubling. It's concerning. It's all of the negative connotation words and phrases that you can use when talking about Tua. Now, I am admittedly I'm very high on Tua. You guys all are well aware I'm a Tua guy, but yeah, it's troubling because our season's on the line, and the person that can put us in the position to best succeed is riding the bench because he's injured yet again. So
Is
we'll see.
Now is that confirmed? Is he 100% out?
I mean, everything that I've read, he's out. Tyler Huntley's in. Now I don't have a depth chart. There hasn't been any like ESPN breaking news to it, but there have been
No,
reports.
but the expected to start came from Mike
Yes.
McDaniel. So
Exactly.
Fair enough. Yeah, I agree with you. It's concerning, and it's something that's, we're going to talk about it tonight. We're going to talk about it in the coming weeks. It's something that's going to need to be discussed.
Mhm.
Taylor, you watched the game on Sunday, I'm assuming.
Yep.
What are your final thoughts on it?
I thought exactly what you were saying, Anthony, about Tyler Huntley. I think Tyler Huntley played a very efficient game. He's very much improved from his last time out. When it comes to the running game, I'm still very disappointed in what this running game has been since 2-3 weeks in from Tua coming back. It feels like this entire offensive line, the running game, has all regressed heavily. I guess it's a huge indictment positively for Austin Jackson, though, because
Yeah.
it all seemed to decline once he got on IR. But overall, I guess my big takeaway from that Cleveland game is we managed to somehow pull out a win. But unfortunately, now we're looking at the Jets game, Week 18, and we don't have a starting quarterback. Yet again, it sounds kind of familiar because that happened a few years ago. And you were talking about it too, Josh. Like, it's pretty worrying at this point because now that tells me, okay, well, let's say everything that's got to happen happens and we win, right? Okay, do we have Tua for a playoff game? Because if not,
probably not.
No.
At this
I mean,
point,
I
you
don't know
have to
how
question
bad
right?
it is, right?
yeah,
And that's the thing. The Dolphins have always played these kind of injuries close to the vest. Like Isaiah Wynn went out last year and he missed the entire season. We don't find out until like the next season what was actually going on with him. They
By the way-
play these. What's that?
he just went on IR again.
Yeah.
Wait,
And-
who?
Isaiah Wynn.
No, he didn't.
He
He
did.
did. He did.
Well, I thought Kendall Lamb went on IR. I didn't hear Isaiah Wynn.
Oh wait, maybe it was Lamb. You're right. Maybe
Yeah.
it was.
by the way, this is Kendall Lamb's final year, so that's
Yeah.
how his career
should
will
be.
end, unfortunately.
Well, Kendall Lamb has been a serviceable backup lineman for the Dolphins, backup tackle for the Dolphins. But let's not delude ourselves into thinking that he has ever been a good lineman.
That's how good
he's-
these guys are. I didn't even know the difference between them. Wynn, Lamb, same guy. Doesn't matter.
Well,
Pretty much, right?
yeah.
Don't forget, fellas. Don't forget, we are more worried about the offensive line than our fellow Chris Christie.
Yes, yes, and that's a statement that kind of just rings in my ears constantly every time.
Lives in infamy.
Well, and the last 3 seasons, you look at when Teron Armstead went out 2 years ago. Dolphins offensive line fell apart every time Teron Armstead wasn't in the lineup. Last year, Connor Williams gets hurt. Dolphins offensive line falls apart without Connor Williams in the lineup. And to an extent this year, as soon as Austin Jackson went out, to what you said, Taylor, now the Dolphins offensive line has fallen apart yet again. You can't let one guy's injury affect the entire line like this. That's not how offensive line's supposed to work in the NFL. So it's just Mr. Snickle Fritz. Yeah, thank you for tuning in, man. Happy New Year to you. Mr. Snickle Fritz is a Bills fan, of course. So I'm sure he's hoping the Dolphins make it into the playoffs so the Bills can beat the Dolphins' brains in the wild card round.
Can't wait for that.
He's not wrong. It is wild that we're still playing for a playoff spot.
It is.
I mean,
It is, and
It doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't.
And I know Mike McDaniel. I don't know if you guys saw his post game talk to the guys after the Browns game, and he was saying, we started out 2-6, last 8 games we're 6-2. That's some man stuff right there. And the Dolphins do deserve some credit for coming back the way they did. Because if you'd have told me when they were 2-6 that they were going to be fighting for a playoff spot, I probably would have looked at you a little cross-eyed.
I mean, we said it on the show. I mean, 2-6 when we were talking about game that seventh or the sixth, that ninth game, whatever it is. We said it. We said, I don't know if this team makes the playoffs. They have no business being even in the conversation. And here we are going into the final game of the season, albeit without our starting quarterback. With a potential to make the playoffs. Now, does it really matter because we're going to get pipe bombed by the Bills? Sure. But hey, we're in the playoffs. Anything's possible. The most important thing in this is if we make the playoffs, Mike McDaniel has now made the playoffs in every season he's been our head coach. There's something there. Right now, I am a little down on McDaniel at this present time, in this moment in time. But that is something to be proud of, and something for us as fans to rejoice and to celebrate, right? Because it's been over 2 decades since that's been a thing.
And in spite of all the injuries to Tua specifically, Mike McDaniel has this team in position to potentially make the playoffs in 3 straight seasons. I mean, that's something. That's not nothing as far as McDaniel goes.
I'm gonna be the devil again and be like, lucky for us, we played enough teams under 500.
Seriously, right? No, but hey, Anthony, you're not wrong,
anybody.
He's not. That's the thing, and not to fully get into the entire McDaniel debate and offensive line debate, all that stuff, but you look at a team like San Fran, right, who have a similar roster construction as the Dolphins, and it's all about, hey, we're going to have somebody like Trent Williams, who is a baller, and he is going to anchor that offensive line. And the Dolphins did this with Teron Armstead, and it has worked out relatively well when he's healthy. But Armstead pretty much plays a bit like Big Ben back in the day, where he actually plays better when injured. But unfortunately, he's always injured down the stretch, only plays about 13 games a season. So you're sitting there going, all right, so when Armstead goes down, the offensive line starts to falter. If another piece falters, the entire offensive line falls apart. So it does come down to McDaniel's made the playoffs 3 years in a row. And by the way, I know it's my first episode. I'm a massive Tua fan. I'm a massive McDaniel fan. When he got hired, I was the first guy going like, oh yeah, this is the dude. I still believe I think he could be the dude. But there are glaring problems in the McDaniel era. And one of those things being not only roster construction with the offensive line, but exactly what you're saying, Anthony. Okay, we got to start beating teams that we not just we're supposed to beat them, but we got to actually start to beat playoff teams. And 3 years in, winning records, it doesn't mean a whole lot, unfortunately, because you look at inside the context of those records, a bunch of below 500 teams were playing.
I did feel better seeing San Francisco go toe-to-toe with the Lions the other day. I was like, hey, okay, we beat that team pretty handily, and the Lions are struggled with them for 3 quarters and then absolutely tore them apart. But still,
I mean, but didn't we beat Denver this year?
We beat Denver last year.
Oh, last year. I thought it was this year. I was about to say, because they look really good.
I don't want to play Denver this year.
No.
Nobody wants to play Denver this year.
It looks like we have a new viewer.
Yeah, sorry about that. Go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry.
That's cool. Matt, thanks for joining. I couldn't agree more, right? Even though we're winning, we still have obvious issues. This will keep us from reaching the next level. We've said this on many shows, Matt. I don't know if you've watched any of our past shows, but it's something that we've hung our hat on quite often, right? We do have issues, and there are things that are preventing us from taking us into that next that upper echelon of NFL talent. Even though we're a very talented team, we're a Ferrari in a snowstorm. And if you go back and watch some of our shows, I've said this till I'm blue in the face. It's the analogy that I use for the season, right? And I think the buck needs to stop with Chris Grier, right? I've said it on previous shows. I don't know. I know some of my co-hosts agree, some of them necessarily disagree, but I think Chris Grier. We need fresh blood. We need fresh perspective. We need to get someone in a position of strength that can address the roster with a different mindset hopefully from a successful franchise, i.e., Philly or the Ravens or someone like that, right? So Tampa Bay. Even the assistant GM in Dallas. That's somebody that I'm hanging my hat on for at least an interview. I think he'd do wonders for here. But,
Yeah.
Matt, welcome to the show. It's your first show. Well, we love that you tuned in. Thank you for tuning in, man.
Appreciate your support.
Welcome in, bud.
All right. So we're gonna move on to the next segment here. Josh, this is all you, man. So take it away.
Yes, sir. So this is a segment that we are now dubbing Takes from the Deep End. This is essentially me scouring the web and for non-copyright sake, Reddit, Bleacher Report, ESPN, and kind of all over the place, and pulling takes that I think are quote unquote hot takes and blindly giving them to my fellas here and just getting a live and honest reaction, right? These are not necessarily takes, and just for those that are watching, these aren't takes that we agree with or disagree with. You will find out the opinions for those that are answering, but these are just spicy takes that I thought were interesting, that I thought would be a fun discussion. So as the new guy, Mr. Cole, we're going to start with you, sir. Okay. So the format here, I'm going to pop up a banner with a take. I'm going to read it for those viewers and those that are watching later. And then it is solely up to you and obviously Anthony or Keith to chime in and tell me how bad it is, how good it is, what your thought is, and so on and so forth. All right.
Gotcha.
Perfect. All right. Flores was right. Tua is soft. No other quarterback would have missed a game of that significance, meaning last week's game or this coming week's game, because of a sore hip. What are your thoughts?
First off, I do want to point out, just very loose behind the scenes here. Josh pretty much told us, "Hey, just pick a number," and we kind of could infer this was for this segment. I did pick number 1. So this is my fault for going.
You did this to yourself, Taylor.
I know I did this to myself. This should show my intelligence here. But point being, with the Flores Tua was soft debate, I don't know, man. It's a thing where I'm kind of just over this whole Flores era entirely.
Mm-hmm.
There's been so much talk about it from, did he treat Tua poorly? Did Flores get a fair shake? All that stuff that I'm a little just over getting into. But when it comes to this injury here, it sounds like if this was a Tua wanting to play thing, he would have played. From everybody, from the coaches to his fellow players, it sounds like this was he was not medically cleared, so he did not play. Now, you could have a long form discussion of whether or not that means we should have given him $60 million plus a season and whether or not we should do that long term. But the whole Tua is soft thing and Flores was right. I don't know. I feel like we'd be in a just as bad, if not worse, situation with Flores as head coach still.
Excellent. Do you guys have anything to add?
I was just gonna say I love the fickleness of fans. When Flores was here, we were pitchforks at the ready.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get rid of him.
Yep.
And now that we're 3 years beyond the Flores era and he's dominating with the Minnesota defense up there, we never doubted he was a good defensive coordinator. Everybody's like, "Nah, Flores was right. Tua is soft."
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Kaepernick thing.
Yeah.
Right. Where it's like 10 years after Kaepernick hasn't played a single significant snap of football, people are still out there saying, "Oh, well, he should start over Tua." It's like, all right, guys, like, come on.
Kaepernick could do it.
Yeah.
He wasn't even that good when he played. Oh, yeah. All right.
Anything else to add before we jump to the next one, fellas?
Tua is not soft.
I completely agree with you.
Tua is not soft. He wants to be out there. He's a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
This injury, whatever it is much worse than I think anybody realizes.
Yeah, I do know that it's not his surgically repaired hip from college.
Well, it is on that hip. It's just a different area of the hip.
Okay.
Yeah. I think McDaniel described it as same hip or same side, I think, in different spot of it.
Yeah.
So it's not the same kind of injury.
One last thing I'll say is I don't think he's soft mentally as a human being, but
Right.
certainly his body is not
It's
up to par.
It's time to wonder. It's time to maybe question whether or not Tua's body was built to withstand in the NFL, just in general. It's time to have that discussion at this point. With the concussions, the hip, it's just been various ailments.
Rib injuries, ankle injuries.
Oh yeah, it's time to start having that discussion.
We have a
All
lot
right.
of off season to do that. That's for sure.
Oh yes, we do. Yes, we do. All right, fellas.
That's why I'm holding off.
Yeah, let's.
This is gonna be a conversation.
Yeah, it's going to be a big conversation, especially given the fact that we can get out of his contract. Let's move to the next one. So this is going to be for Anthony. All right. We can win with Huntley. This dude is a true dual threat quarterback. Mike McDaniel just needs to keep the same game plan, and Huntley can get us to the playoffs.
Well, this is kind of a trick question because it's not really up to us if we get to the playoffs. I mean, yes, we can win this game, and that gives us a 22% chance. But it's really up to the Chiefs' backups to get us. Carson Wentz has a better chance of getting us to the playoffs than Snoop Huntley does.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But listen, Huntley played well last week. And that's, I mean, we talked about it already. I thought that he had a good game. He is a dual threat quarterback in the definition of the word, and that he can run and he can pass. I don't foresee this guy as a starting quarterback anytime soon. But certainly if he plays like he did last week again, we can start to have that conversation as to whether or not we actually do have a capable backup behind Tua now. But we'll see, because we've only seen it once against a Browns team that, to be honest, is really flailing at this point. So, and the Jets are flailing too. So even if he wins this game, we may not know for sure if we have anything there. And truthfully, I'm not confident that the coaching staff could tell us that either, given their choices for backup quarterback this year.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. And word is that they've already opened up conversations to re-sign him for next season.
Of course. I told you that last show.
You sure did. You sure did.
You
It's going to
did.
be interesting, fellas. Anybody want to add anything to this before I jump over to Keith's?
I will say, just on the whole Skylar Thompson thing real quick, I can forgive Tua missing that last game. But you know what I won't forgive? I won't forgive him being out to the point to where we had to go re-sign Skylar Thompson. We were rid of him. It was done. The era was over. And all of a sudden, now he's back on the sideline, and I realize, like, oh no, he's never going to leave. He's about to be a 10-year vet on the team.
Yep. Yeah, we said it on one of our past shows where I thought, we think that he's got dirt on somebody.
Yeah.
Look, now that he knows the system, he's going to be on practice squads for the rest of his career, especially since they got rid of most of the practice squad rules. You're just going to see Skylar Thompson on the Niners, on the
I mean, good for him though, right?
Packers,
Go get your money, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Just somewhere else. For the love of God, somewhere else. All right, fellas. Keith.
Yes, sir.
Are your palms sweaty?
A little bit.
This is going to be
News
a
week.
clean. This is going to be a clean sweep of Tua conversations.
Okay.
Given Tua's lack of arm strength and lack of ability to scramble, Penix Jr. and Jaden Daniels are already better quarterbacks than him.
Oof.
Now, again,
That's-
just for the viewers that might have joined us after the segment was introduced, these are not our opinions. This is a segment called Takes from the Deep End, where I go scour the web and pull hot takes that people have said on various sports media blogs.
I'm a big Tua guy, and if all things are equal, if Tua is healthy, then I take Tua over a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL. That being said, I was impressed by what I saw from Michael Penix on Sunday night. And I've been impressed by what I've seen from Jaden Daniels all season. His rushing ability he might be the second best rushing quarterback in the NFL behind Lamar Jackson right now. Like he's been that good.
I mean, I would argue maybe third because Josh Allen's pretty damn good.
Yeah, Josh Allen is
we have
pretty
a
damn
Bills
good.
fan in the chat here. I mean, somebody's got to say it.
That's why he said it. He knew what he was doing. Keith was calculated, okay?
Yeah. But
He knows how to drive viewerships and comments.
no, but I was impressed by what I saw from Michael Penix, and I liked him coming out of the draft.
Mhm.
I've been, like I said, I've been impressed by Jaden Daniels, but I still think Tua, all things being equal, I would still take Tua over them.
Yeah, I mean, I so much I drafted him in my dynasty league.
Now, the thing you have to understand about Tua is that Tua is probably the most accurate quarterback in the NFL right now.
Not probably.
And
He is.
yeah, so accuracy is one of those things like speed, like the rushing ability of Jaden Daniels. You can't really teach a quarterback to be as accurate as Tua is with the football. You can get a quarterback to be more accurate, which is what the Bills have done with Josh Allen. When Josh Allen came out of Wyoming, his accuracy was the major knock on him. And Josh Allen, went into the lab and got to work and made himself a more accurate passer. But he will never be as accurate as Tua. Most of the quarterbacks in the NFL can only dream of being as accurate with the football as Tua is with his ball. So, man, it's tough, but I would take Tua over those guys still.
So, I will add that if Michael Penix had Tua's accuracy, that game on Sunday night is not even close. I mean, he missed so many wide open shots.
He did. He absolutely did, Anthony. That being said, I was still really impressed with Michael Penix. Mm-hmm. That last throw he made to send that game into overtime was a prime time throw.
Yeah, but again, he's gonna. Hopefully, he blossoms into something good, right? Because I mean, Tua's a night and day better quarterback than he was.
Yeah,
year one, year two. I mean, we've said it on the show. Tua has gotten better at something every year. The thing that we all want him to get better at, obviously, is staying healthy, right? Maybe that's next year, guys. Who knows?
Yeah. To that point, welcome to the show, State of Zen. Hey. And we talk about this often, my dude. We're not overlooking the fact that he needs to stay healthy. It's just answering the question at hand.
No, and that's the thing. Like, if all things aren't equal, maybe I would take Penix or Jaden Daniels over Tua. Yeah. Because if Tua isn't going to stay healthy, then what good is he? I agree with you. Mm-hmm. I 100% agree with you. But again, with Tua, it's always been projection. It's always been, if this guy can stay healthy, he's going to be a monster. Well, I'm saying it again. If Tua can stay healthy, he's going to be a monster in the NFL, but he needs to stay healthy first.
I do believe that conversation will be had in Washington and in Atlanta as well. With rushing quarterbacks, it always is. Like, those two both have small frame. Well, Jaden has a small frame and Penix is a little bit bigger. But, I mean, the more hits you take at quarterback, the less likely you are to play. That's just the way it works. Yeah,
but Jaden Daniels is also pretty good at protecting himself. Yeah. And Lamar Jackson's gotten much better at that too. Like, Lamar Jackson's got a slight frame, but he's learned how to protect himself in the NFL.
So at this point in time, would you guys take Tua or would you take either Jaden Daniels or Michael Penix? Quick fire.
Jaden.
Keith.
Penix.
Tua, Jaden, or Penix? You take Penix over Tua? Yeah. What about you, Tyler?
I would take Jaden.
Yeah. And I'd take Penix. So, hey, Tua, you're out, baby.
None of us picked Tua in that whole conversation.
That's funny. All right, fellas, quick question. So we're at the 32-minute mark. I have 3 excruciatingly hot takes that I'm a big fan of, but we are trying to keep the show at the 45, 50-minute mark. Do we want to, knowing that we still have to cover the Jets, do we want to go through another round? Or
let's do another round.
Okay. Anthony, you go with that? Tyler, you go with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Excellent. All right. So this one is to Tyler. Or do you need a minute? You just muted yourself.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay, perfect. All right. With coaches like Vrabel and Gruden and Pete Carroll available, it would be great to see this team move away from Mike McDaniels and get this team a coach that is an actual proven hard-nosed head coach.
We just did this. That was kind of the whole point to Flores.
Mm-hmm.
Was this hard-nosed coach was a great coordinator at the defensive position. He'll bring toughness to the team. And we didn't have an offense. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, now it's the complete opposite, where we have an offense, and we've had 3 defense coordinators in a row. But no, I'm. If anything, if we move on from McDaniel, if we end up cleaning house, I would want somebody on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Or somebody like an Aaron Glenn from Detroit, who is
Jesus, yeah, I love him.
I don't know what he's doing. Like, he's
magic.
It's got to be, because he has nobody there that is a star player, except for, I guess, Kirby Joseph at this point. Everybody else is on IR.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Far-fetched away from the Javon Hollins and the Jalen Ramseys of the world. And
I don't even think we have 9 interceptions as a team.
I don't think so.
And that is a good point. Real quick, the comment that just popped up, that these coaches listed all have previous experience. That's the one difference between that and the Flores thing.
Mhm.
Whereas somebody like Vrabel could come in and okay, at least we know what we're going to get with him, right?
Yep.
With a Gruden, we know what we're going to get with him. I would much rather have somebody like Vrabel than John Gruden. I don't think that his tenure with the Raiders before it even went off the rails with all the stuff with the we'll just go ahead and move on from that and him suing the league and everything. Even before that, it wasn't going particularly well. I know he was doing fine. I think
Hey,
it was
knock on the table if you hear me.
Yeah, it was
He-
like a 6-3 record or something like that.
He was
last
turning it
season.
around there down there.
Yeah, he was starting to turn it around, but still, I'd rather have somebody like a Vrabel if I had to pick one of those three.
I remember the Gruden era and the Raiders very differently, guys. He took a TV analyst and made him his GM, and he didn't draft a single good player on that team.
Yep, which was shocking to me because.
And plus, John Gruden is like in trouble with the league. Nobody's touching that with a 10-foot
Yeah,
pole.
I mean, Matt Mayock, I thought was such a good analyst of talent when he was doing his draft shows. I was like, dude, this is a home run pick when they did it. Boy, was I wrong again.
Only other
What
thing I
else
would
is
add to that
Gruden
is
did?
Pete Carroll, a hard-nosed coach. That no.
Yeah,
He's not.
to me, he's a 30-year older Mike McDaniel. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he's a player's coach for sure.
Yeah.
But but that's the thing. Like he does add a certain cachet to he brings a certain cachet with him. He's won national championship with USC, won a Super Bowl with Seattle. Like that's a guy that when you're tuning out, if players are tuning out Mike McDaniel, I don't know what they are. I'm not saying they are. They're not going to tune out Pete Carroll.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, I didn't mean that to come across as I wouldn't want him. I would welcome Pete Carroll with open arms.
Okay,
I just thought it was funny that he was put in the conversation of like hard-nosed coaches.
Yeah, true.
All right, Keith, you're up, buddy.
All right, let's do it.
Achane is more valuable than Waddle at this point.
I'm not going to go there. I'm not going there. Achane is a guy that the Dolphins have probably overused this season, if we're being honest about it. You don't want to give Achane as many touches as you've given him. He's got a slighter frame. You can't use him in the short yardage situations. Jalen Waddle is a guy who's going to be our new number one. I don't know that they're going to keep Tyreek Hill after this season.
Mhm.
And
Hope not.
Jalen Waddle is going to be the man. So I would value them both equally. They're both tools and weapons that this offense can use moving forward. But I'm not going to sit here and say that Achane is more valuable than Waddle because that's selling Waddle short. Waddle's had a rough season, but he'll bounce back. We've seen what Waddle can do. So don't undervalue Waddle, even if you do love Devon Achane, because I do. I love Devon Achane, but we need a back that's going to complement him. We need to get a bruiser up in here. We need to get like a 230-pound back.
Yeah, we said it on the show last week.
Yeah,
or maybe it was on the postgame show. Like, if we need to get 1 yard on 4th and 1, I'd rather punt it.
Yeah.
I have zero confidence in anyone on this team.
Well, there's a reason that
getting 1 yard.
There's a reason why they've handed it off to Alec Ingold as many times as they have on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. We need a true bruiser. We need to get the thunder to Devon Achane's lightning. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, we need to get size to Jalen Waddle's petiteness.
Yeah. We could use a big wide receiver as well. But again, these guys are tools. This is not
T. Higgins. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I didn't hear you. What?
He might be going up to New England, guys. I'm pretty sure T. Higgins is going to be a top target for the Patriots.
Hey, let me ask you guys a question.
Too.
This is completely unrelated, and I just doesn't need to turn into a comment. What if we were to offer Tyreek Hill to Cincinnati for a T. Higgins swap?
They're like the cheapest organization in sports. I don't think they would do
Yeah.
They have, like,
one
great
can
scouts.
dream, man.
Like,
I mean, I would take that deal.
Yeah,
But
so
would Cincinnati? That's the problem. Would Tyreek? I don't know if Tyreek has a no trade clause, but I don't see him wanting to go to Cincinnati, honestly.
no. Before we get to the last one for Anthony here, Mr. Snickle Fritz, how do you guys feel about Tyreek's tweets and posts? I think Tyreek is very much like Jimmy Butler, where he likes to just stoke the flames because he's a shit starter and he thinks he's funny and
Yeah,
shut
up, Tyreek.
Yeah,
Shut up.
when a player has had more babies and touchdowns in a season, like why don't you just shut up and play football?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't watch these guys for the personalities.
His act is getting old here in Miami. Like,
Yeah.
and I kind of said it last off season where it's like, at a certain point, we're gonna tire of his antics and just say, look, maybe you should just go somewhere else, pal.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of Dolphins fans are kind of reaching that point, even though he does still have some good football left in him.
All right, let's get to this last one so we can get on to the Jets game, right? Anthony, this team is bad, and it's time that we all recognize serious changes are needed. A bad team isn't fun to watch, but a mediocre team is even worse. We have no title chance and no draft optimism. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know how the no draft optimism fits in with that.
I think it's because we win too many games, so we're like later in the first
round. Oh,
round.
that does make sense then. Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with this. I do think we have a lot of bad players on this team. I think we're going to lose about half of our starting lineup at the end of this season because they just weren't good enough to play. Or they were good enough to play. Obviously, they're playing for us, but they're not good enough to succeed. Listen, we're 8-8 for a reason, and if our schedule's just a little bit harder, are we even that good? So, while I don't share that sense of pessimism as that was written, it was written very pessimistic point of view. I feel like I do agree that there are a lot of bad players on this team who will not be here next year, and that's why I don't care if we make the playoffs, I guess you could say. Like, I'm still rooting for it, but I'm not. My hopes aren't up. Like, if we make the playoffs, oh my god, we're gonna do something great. No, we're not. We're gonna get destroyed. So yeah. So
hey, any given Sunday, man. No, I'm kidding.
It's another week of getting. It's another week of analyzing a game, getting to talk Dolphins football. We're gonna talk Dolphins football regardless here, but it's. I hear what you're saying, Anthony, and I know like we disagreed about that on Sunday. I still want us to go dancing, man.
It's also like you're not going to get that better of a pick. The way that the league is right now, to where so many teams are like 4-12, 5-11, you're going to be sitting 12 to 15, really, no matter what you do. So might as well just try to make the playoffs.
I mean, unless we shock the world and beat the Bills.
Man.
Well, anyways,
yeah.
Well,
so,
I mean,
anyways,
to your point, we're the 15th pick right now, and if we make the playoffs, the best we can do is the 19th pick. So it's only it's a 4-point drop, but that's not even the thing for me. It's just I don't want to see us get destroyed again. I don't want to have to go through the stress. I have all these gray hairs. These are Dolphins gray hairs.
Look at them. Look at them.
All right. So we're going to move on. That was a great segment, Josh. We're going to be doing that every week. Tales from the deep end, or was it Takes from the deep end? Takes from the deep end.
That would have made more sense, but too late now.
Yeah, Takes from the deep end. We're going to be doing that every week, guys. So if you enjoyed it, please, comment on the video if you enjoyed that. But Dolphins just signed offensive tackle Braden Daniels off Dallas's practice squad.
Yep. And we also brought in.
So it's come to that.
Who was the left tackle from? What the hell was his name? The left tackle from Kansas City. Their big guy.
Orlando Brown.
Yeah, or something like that. Well, we brought in somebody from Kansas, like one of their big offensive linemen.
So it's come to that, and this is kind of what the Dolphins did last season at pass rusher. You know, they brought in the corpse of Justin Houston, and I think Jason Pierre-Paul had a cup of coffee with the Dolphins before
Melvin Ingram
was
coming
back. Melvin Ingram, yeah.
Hey, but I like Melvin Ingram that first year.
I like Melvin Ingram. I liked him too, but let's not pretend that he was.
No.
Yeah. All right, so we're moving on to the Jets game, guys. We have the Jets at MetLife on Sunday. Looks like Tua's going to be out for this game, like we said. Tua's probably not going to play. I'm going to hold out hope that he will play until I hear otherwise. Liam might play right tackle now. Okay.
I'd rather just not play with the right tackle.
Yeah. And it looks like Aaron Rodgers probably isn't going to play for the Jets this week. It's going to be Tyrod Taylor.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be nice.
When I heard that.
And I know Garrett Wilson's pissed off at everyone, so maybe he won't play either.
He had a 1,000-yard season this year somehow. Tyreek doesn't even have 1,000 yards.
That's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah. So, what are your initial thoughts on this game on Sunday, Anthony? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about this one. We barely beat this team a few weeks ago, week 14. We had to take it to overtime, and then Tua and Tyreek got on a run, and Jonnu Smith. It was the Jonnu Smith show all the way down to the end zone, and then I don't remember if he hit Tyreek for the winning touchdown or
No, it was
what
Jonnu.
there.
Was
Was it Jonnu? Yeah. So, man, I don't feel overly confident in this one, but if Aaron Rodgers isn't playing, I feel a little bit more confident. I don't think Tyrod's very good. Just what the NFL drew up.
I might have jumped the gun on that a little bit. I'm looking it up right now. He might actually. Aaron Rodgers might actually be playing in this one.
Yeah, if Rodgers is playing, I don't feel great. But our defense has looked. I mean, I don't think this gets said enough on this show or any other show. Our defense has been incredible the past few weeks, and I didn't really realize it until I was watching the Lions 49ers game, where the 49ers put up 28 points in the first half on the Lions, and I'm thinking to myself, I thought the Lions defense was good, and we held them to less than that in the whole game. So I feel like our defense has been playing probably better than we even realized, just because we're in it all the time. And if the defense can continue to make some plays like they have these, especially last week against Cleveland, where they forced a turnover or two, which we haven't really done this year, I think that's what we're going to need to do.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. This is going to have to be a gameless one on defense, I think. Taylor, what do you think, man?
So you say Aaron Rodgers, and still not sure if he's playing or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go into this assuming that Aaron Rodgers is going to play.
Aaron Rodgers playing is probably going to be his. I don't want to say probably. It could be his final game in the NFL. So I would imagine they're going to go very pass heavy in this game, considering how banged up our secondary's been and how awful our safety room has been. It's not really a good combination, especially consider also last time we played the Jets, they absolutely tortured us at every opportunity. So it's going to be down to really just playing situational football like we did against the Browns, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Just control the clock, try to run the ball. I guess with Huntley there, he might end up being our leading rusher again. And just try not to turn the ball over.
All right. Yeah, I would imagine this probably isn't Aaron Rodgers'. I don't know if this is Aaron Rodgers' last game in the NFL, but it's certainly his last game with the Jets. I don't think it's a bold prediction to say. Josh, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, honestly, looking historically, the Dolphins have the upper hand between these two. I think we've won 12 of the last 14, right? Per sports books, which I'm not a big gambler, or I'm not a gambler at all, really, but they tend to know what's going on, right? Jets are 2.5 point, 3 point underdogs, so it should be a very close game. Mm-hmm. What worries me, especially if Aaron Rodgers plays, and everyone has alluded to this already, but when we played them last time, we had to go to overtime to beat them. Mm-hmm. And they were without Sauce Gardner. They were without one of their star safeties. They were without Breece Hall. They were without, if they're fully healthy, can we beat them? Absolutely. Right. I think our defense is a top 10 unit for the season. We have a rookie defensive end who's leading the entire NFL, not rookies, the entire NFL in quarterback pressure percent and rate. Excuse me. We have Tyler Huntley coming off a very efficient game, right? But if you look at the games that Tyler Huntley has played, he got knocked out of one, he played horribly in one, and he played really well last week. So what are we getting? There's no consistency there. So it kind of depends on Huntley, in my opinion, right? We go as the backup quarterback goes, which is why not having Tua is so frustrating to me. Because if we had Tua, I think this is a 30-17 kind of game, right? But with Huntley, I could see this being a, like a 24-21, 27-21, like that kind of game. Spoiler alert. One of those is my prediction. But again, to Barney Miller's point, where the hell did it go? Hold on. I lost it.
Oh boy.
There it is. Out of control. I'm out of control, fellas. Sorry. It's the COVID brain. Barney Miller, thanks for joining. I don't recognize your name. I think you're a first-time viewer, so thank you for joining and supporting the podcast and the show. But Denver's going to kick the crap out of Kansas City's backup and practice squad players. So, we need to do our part. We need to win the game. Can we win it? Absolutely. Will we win it? I think so. But it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot closer than I think it should be if we had the right people out there. And I could definitely see us. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers. I would rather Aaron Rodgers throw the ball more than Breece Hall running it down our throats, because there's nothing we can do to that. If Breece Hall is running it like he should, bro, like we're screwed.
I mean, yeah, Isaiah Davis ran us over last time.
Exactly.
He was the third string running back.
Yeah.
Right. So, I hope Aaron Rodgers decides to pass it 58 times. That would be amazing. Right.
I will say though, Josh, I mean, if I was trying to think back to our show after the week 14 game and thinking like, what did we say? And I vividly remember saying that we made Aaron Rodgers look good again, because he looked like
I do remember that
all season.
Yeah.
And then he plays against us and he has 104 quarterback rating. He looks like Aaron Rodgers from Green Bay. And it's like, man, we need to actually do something to this guy this time.
Yeah.
The
The
first
problem is
300-yard game in what?
20 something games.
Yeah.
Oh, we were
But
playing a lot of off coverage on the receivers, and Aaron Rodgers was getting the ball out so quick. So like Chop Robinson, to your point, Josh, was rendered ineffective because Josh, he couldn't get there fast enough.
No, he had Aaron Rodgers has a very fast release. Right?
Yeah.
And,
We struggled against guys with the fast release.
Exactly.
Which is funny because we play against one in practice every day, you would think, but
you think we get used to it.
Well, that's a safety problem right there, fellas. But hey,
a lot of
there's something brand new that we don't know about.
a lot of comments, Keith, if you want to
Let's
catch up on a few here.
Rodgers looking for his 500th touchdown pass. Yeah, he broke the record for most sacked quarterback of all time last week, going for 500 this week. I jumped the gun on thinking Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to play. I don't know why I thought that. That's my bad, guys.
You can dream. It's okay.
Rodgers, a star in the game, is the Jets Super Bowl. They would love nothing better than to knock us out. Yep.
Believe that.
Absolutely it is. Aaron Rodgers is playing. Adams is also going for another 1,000-yard season. Okay.
He only needs 25 yards, thankfully. So it's not he doesn't have to blow up.
I'm sure there's incentives in there and everything like that too.
Yeah.
And I think that KC Denver game will be closer than people think. I do too, actually. State of Zen. I think that's certainly going to be a game I'm going to have one eye on. I'll tell you that much.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fun game to watch.
Does Rodgers play for the Jets next year? I don't think so.
0%.
I'm pretty sure that bridge is good and crispy.
He burnt that whole house down and the bridge that went along with it.
Hold on. I think we can figure out who the Jets quarterback is going to be. Who has the best Madden rating right now?
Oh, crap. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Kyler Murray, they're going to trade for Kyler?
All right, so it's time getting predictions here, guys. And I'm gonna do something different here. I want your prediction for the Dolphins and Jets game, and I want your prediction for the Kansas City and Denver.
Oh, all right. All right.
I'm not prepared.
I got this, fellas.
All right. So, Taylor, I'm going to start with you here, man. You're the newbie. Give it to us.
Dolphin game, I have 17-7. Dolphins over Jets.
Okay.
As for the Kansas City Denver game, screw it. I'll be optimistic. I'll say Carson Wentz turns back time, goes back to the 2017 MVP season.
Oh,
puts up some yards and beats Denver. Denver will put up points. 31-24.
That's a good score. That's
Okay.
a good score.
All right. So Taylor has the Dolphins making the playoffs.
That would be so incredible.
Being very optimistic here.
Hey, I love the optimism, Taylor. I love it.
Give us your predictions in the chat too, guys. While we're doing it.
Throw your predictions for both games.
Yeah.
Throw them in the chat.
Anthony, you weren't prepared, so I'm going to go to Josh on this one. I didn't prepare you for the Denver Kansas City one, so I'll give you a little more time.
All right,
Josh.
so I'm going to go Denver Kansas City game first. I think Kansas City ekes it out 30-27. Right?
Okay.
I think it's going to be a good game. The only reason I have them winning, I think Denver is a very good team. They've shown they're a very good team. I just think Kansas City has the upper hand from a coaching standpoint, and I think that will make the difference. I think Denver will make those one or two mistakes, whether it be interception or whether it be, a fumble or something like that, or a muffed punt or something that's going to flip the script and completely change kind of the landscape of that game. And then the Dolphins game, it's a lot closer than I want it to be, but I have us winning 27-21.
All right. So you have the Dolphins making the playoffs as well.
I do.
I
Not
love it.
for no reason other than I'm a Dolphins fan, but it doesn't really
I
matter.
love the optimism. I love the optimism, guys. Let's see. Before we go to Anthony on this one, Mr. Snickle Fritz, Dolphins over Jets.
Get us
Denver
dirty.
over KC.
Damn.
We
All
need
right.
scores. Come on, give us some scores. It's too
I mean,
easy to say one over the other.
That's a good point right there. KC is barely winning games with their starters. It's true. If Andy doesn't bend over for his division, just keep Burrow out. Okay. All right. And finally, I will be at the game at MetLife Takeover.
Hey.
Nice. All
There
right.
we go.
MetLife Takeover is fantastic. If you guys
is
haven't
very
heard
good.
of it,
It is fantastic.
I've gone to it one year. It is incredible. It's a group of Dolphins fans in New York City. They take over an entire section of the stadium. It feels like a Dolphins home game. If you haven't gone to one, I recommend it. It's incredible.
I've been to two, and they are incredible. What a good time! And everyone is super nice.
Yeah,
We should try and do that next year, guys. Do a MetLife Takeover.
Done. Let's do it.
Let's do
We
it.
can do a live. We can do a live show from the stadium.
We'll go interview all the people.
I'll make us fake media credentials and everything. It'll be great.
All right. So, Anthony, I stalled long enough for you. Give me your
What was your
prediction,
score,
friend.
Keith? I didn't even get it.
I haven't given mine yet.
Oh, you haven't.
You want-
Okay.
You want me to go first?
No, I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have the Dolphins eking this one out 24-21. I think it's another close game that is going to pain me deeply. May have a heart attack. Who knows? Let's hope not. If you don't hear from me Sunday, that's why. And then the Denver Chiefs game, there's a lot of good points you guys are throwing around. I remember like Chad Henne coming in for them and leading them to a really competitive game. I don't remember if he won, but like they do compete well. I like Denver, though. They're real scrappy. Bo Nix has looked way better than anybody anticipated he would. I think Denver ekes it out. I want to say that it's real close, though. I'm going to say Denver wins 20-17.
Okay.
Yeah, so we end up missing the playoffs, but it's a 3-point game in both of them, and we missed it.
Yeah, and am I allowed to make a tweak to mine, guys? Or
Yeah,
is
sure.
It, all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I reluctantly, the more I think about it, I don't think Kansas City's practice squad players can beat Denver. So I'm gonna just
come on, Josh.
I'm gonna keep the same score, but I'm gonna switch it to Denver winning because Bo Nix, I loved him coming out of college. I thought he has played a very good. He's had a really good. Excuse me. And watching them last week, he was dropping like 40-yard dimes across the field, and if Kansas City is truly not just sitting kind of their key starters, but also their like regular starters, I think it's going to be close, but I think they win.
I love the chat. Our chat believes, the two of them have said this now, that the Chiefs are how well the Chiefs play is going to depend on the other team's outcomes. I love that. I love that cynicism. That cracks me up. That's great.
But it is our luck, though, isn't it, fellas?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's just how it goes as a Dolphins fan. Welcome to the suck, fellas.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to give my predictions. I do think the Dolphins beat the Jets. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a much closer game than any of us are comfortable with, just like the overtime game was earlier on in the season. I think Huntley makes just enough plays. The Dolphins defense makes just enough plays. The Dolphins win 20-19 with a last-second field goal by Jason Sanders.
Whoa.
Oh, my God. I will not be a happy camper the entire game.
Our chat is going to be lit, bro.
However, and I'm sorry, Taylor, I'm going against you as well. I don't think Kansas City has what it takes to beat Denver in this game. I don't think they're particularly interested in beating Denver in this game. I think they're ready to move on to the playoffs. That's what a team with a championship pedigree like the Chiefs do. They take care of business in the regular season. They kind of dust off their hands, move on to the postseason. That's the mode Kansas City's in right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that they care, about keeping their arch rival Denver Broncos out of the playoffs. I think that they're of the mindset that whoever they play in the playoffs, they're going to beat. And you know what? 3 out of the last 4 years they've come away with the Super Bowl. It's hard to argue with their logic. So
now, can I ask an honest question to the three of us? So Taylor, you picked them to win. So this is not a you question. Do we genuinely believe that Denver is going to win, or are we saying this to like trick Mother Nature or the spirits or pick something into reverse psychologying them to lose.
No, I genuinely believe Denver's going to win. I think Mr. Snicklefritz's point here, KC is barely winning games with their starters.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Did you see his last comment? That's funny.
Any consolation about the Dolphins in the playoffs, the league needs. Yeah, so
the league needs that, or the Bills need that?
Yeah.
Well, the Bills need it. They need to rest their starters, and they can if you're in there.
Yeah, the Bills just get to coast.
Josh Allen plays one quarter, and he can sit for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and I don't see the Broncos taking out the Bills in the first round either, but it'll be a better game. I can tell you that much. But again, this isn't reverse psychology on my part. I don't know about you guys. I genuinely think Denver's going to win.
It's 50-50 for me.
Okay, all right.
I'm being honest. It's 50-50 for me.
Anthony, is it reverse psychology for you?
No, I think Denver's going to win. I mean, yeah.
All right, so I'm 50% in your corner, Taylor.
I guess I'll be the solo delusional Finn fan right here.
Hey man, no, I love the optimism, and I would love to be optimistic, but it hasn't been that kind of season, has it?
It's not Bengals. If Denver wins, it's Denver, not Cincinnati.
Yeah, the Bengals need both the Dolphins and the Broncos to lose.
If the Broncos win, they're the ones that are in, and they're playing the Bills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, both us and the Bengals are on the outside looking in here.
The Bengals need the most help. Yeah.
So guys, that's it. We've made our predictions. We're ready to sign off for the night.
Yes, we are.
So I'm going to go to final thoughts. Taylor, do you have any final thoughts for us?
Not really. I do hope we end up making the playoffs. If not, it's going to be a lot tougher of a Sunday show.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
Even if we win and don't make the playoffs, I'll at least come into the show going like, well, end of the season strong, 9-8. But we lose to a Jets team that has more controversies than touchdowns these last few weeks. I seriously don't know how I'd react.
Yeah.
Well, tune in and find out, ladies and gentlemen.
On that note.
Mr. Snicklefritz, if you're a Bills fan, I would have the same exact mentality. Man.
Oh, yeah.
He definitely is a Bills fan. You should see the pictures that I have of him as a Bills fan. He's got a whole, he's got the chain, he's got a wig. I mean, he does the whole get up. It's awesome.
Oh, I plan to get nice and liquored up, to say the Zen. All right. Anthony, any final thoughts, man?
Yeah, I want to, Taylor stole thunder a little. I was going to say the same thing. 9-8 is a nice finish to the season, despite our start of 2-6, which was a really tough time to go through emotionally. I think we were all defeated. Yeah. So it would be nice to finish 9-8. It's also kind of a double-edged sword, because now are we more likely to keep some of the people we don't want to keep if we finish 9-8 than we were if we had lost a few more? And I never want to lose, but it's definitely the thoughts that go through my mind. But yeah, I think, listen, it's Dolphins Jets. It's going to be a game where you are pulling your hair out.
It's just a game. That's all it is.
Just a game. But Happy New Year to everybody. Our first game of 2025 is against the Jets. So couldn't write that any better.
Of course it was against the Jets. It had to be the Jets, didn't it? Yep. Josh, any final thoughts, man?
I mean, look, I don't want to filibuster much longer. I know, pretty much what the other guys have said. I think let's finish strong as Dolphins fans. That's what we should be hoping for.
Yep.
Now, whether or not that's reality, that's a totally different thing, right? So let's watch the game. Let's keep our spirits high, and don't forget to come check us out post game when we do our post game reaction show right after the game, and it'll be interesting. So please make sure to tune in.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we'll see you guys Sunday after the game. We're going to do a post-game reaction show. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. If there's I don't know if there's anything else you guys.
Yeah, quick shout out to all of the commentators, commenters. Sorry, the viewers and all of the folks that have been participating in the show. It's really great to see the fans. Come show us some love. Come show the podcast some support. And you guys were awesome today. I mean, we had a really steady viewership. We had great comments there, and really sparked some good debate. So please make sure to like and subscribe and come join us again. Yeah, we love this when you guys chime in on the chat. Absolutely. And if you guys.
It does appear this is a 4:25 game again, so we'll see you Sunday night.
Yes, Sunday night, 7:30, 8 o'clock, somewhere around there.
Mhm.
So if you know, like I said, like, subscribe, make some comments on our video if you have any, and we'll be sure to comment back if we see them. So for Taylor Cole, for Anthony, for Josh, for myself, for the Fins Forecast, we're going to say good night. You guys have a lovely new year. See you on Sunday.